This is the Limo Show.
This is not another story. This is not another drill. I refuse to be another number.
Welcome, guys, to the Limo Show. I have James with me, international sex coach. He's helped thousands of guys around the world to improve their sex lives, their relationships, and it's a pleasure to have you. Welcome, James.
Awesome, Limo. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, welcome. So maybe for those of you, for the listeners who don't know you yet, what is your story so far? How did you get up into the space? And how did you start, helping guys in this field?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of guys in this industry, when I was younger, I really struggled with women, like always friend zoned. And then even when I was starting to get into relationships, I was a doormat, like super nice guy, all that kind of like, everyone sort of feels it or has been there themselves. So, and it got to a point where I was with this one girl and she had so much trauma around sexuality that she actually had no feeling. So when we were having sex, she was doing it just for me. And being the nice guy back then, I was like, well, I don't really like it. So how can I make this more pleasurable? So I started doing research into Tantra, BDSM, and sex toys, like just trying to figure out like how can I make this a better experience. And her and I broke up. Again, was I was treated quite badly in that relationship, stayed way too long, just because I was that like typical needy kind of guy back then. But it kind of unlocked this whole new world for me. And I even after that breakup, I started doing a lot more research into what the fuck BDSM was, what this tantra thing was, because it just seemed so fascinating. And even like this is the reason I'm not a dating coach, is because the dating side never like drove me. It wasn't about getting like as many girls as I could. It was all about like the sex and how deep can we go with that. So instead of like going, like I have some people, I know some mates that would go out and like try and get two, three girls a night, right? Whereas I just want to get like one and just see how deep we can go, or what cool experience can we have. And the more I dive deeper and deeper, like the bigger the rabbit hole of sexuality went, and it just kept stirring up this like passion for it. Then I got an opportunity to work with a couple of mentors of mine. Started off like not really doing too much in the company, just some video editing, but worked myself up to actually start coaching in that company and just loved it. I loved the idea of just helping other guys like that were in similar situations to me. And then when I left that company, I tried to do a few other things, but nothing lit me up like coaching did. So I was like, well, it'd be great to start my own company and go with my philosophies on my views on how this all works and give a bit more about like from my own experience and the things that I found instead of going from someone else's story and their views. So that's sort of the quick of how I came to where I am.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. And it's interesting. Yeah. So it started with your own personal experience, with your maybe your ex-girlfriend, etc. And then then you worked with a company, with a sex coaching company in the past. I think we both know which company it is. And then at some point you transitioned. I mean, you liked it there, you enjoyed it, and then you transitioned to having your own thing. And now you're coaching guys like with your own thing. And so what do you tell people when they ask you about what you do? Like if you're in a dinner with some friends or at your family table, is it like, how is it to be a sex coach? Like, because it's pretty controversial sometimes.
Yeah, so what I tell people kind of depends on where I am, what the sort of demographic is. If they're fairly open-minded, I'm pretty open about it. But for some people, maybe it's like a quick in passing kind of thing. I say that I'm a men's coach. If they get a bit more intrigued on it, then I'll go a bit deeper after sort of testing their open-minded. Like when I was in Krakow recently, I wouldn't start off with, yeah, I'm a sex coach kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, it's funny because my family all knows. They found out when I joined the previous company through a series of events. I was hoping to keep it quiet. But they're very supportive. They love what I'm doing, especially like with the men that I work with, because it isn't just about sex. It's also about masculinity. It's about helping guys that get over like performance anxiety, so erectile
Yeah.
dysfunction, premature ejaculation, all of that. So there's so many
Mhm.
ways that men can be helped through sexuality.
For sure, yeah, it translates into so much more, and even in a relationship, I
Mhm.
guess a big part of being in a relationship is having good sex. Because if the sex sucks, then the relationship is going to fail 100%. And
Oh yeah, and it's funny. Like sometimes you can actually see or tell, like based on what problems are in the relationship, that they're having shit sex.
yeah, yeah. I read something once where almost any problem in a relationship can be solved through good sex, like
Yeah,
most of
it,
the
it's
time.
it's funny how how that happens.
Yeah, and so basically yourself, like, what was something that you've seen over and over in the guys you've coached in the past that is recurring, like an issue that's recurring, a mistake or something? And how do you solve it kind of in your coaching? How do you go about helping guys like go over it, go over that? For example, premature ejaculation, or maybe they're in their heads and they come too fast, or like what's the main thing?
Yeah, so there's kind of two main ones, I would say, like two major issues. So one is more the for the single guys, which is that performance anxiety, right? When they're with a new woman. And that breaks down into one of three problems. It's either mental, emotional, or physical. Now, but from my experience, about 80 to 90% of it is either emotional or mental. So it's them putting themselves in their own head. They're not relaxed. They're really focused, and why it's called performance anxiety. They're focused on that performance element. Like they have to be this amazing dude. They have to be better than every other guy she's ever been with. And it's like, well, what do you expect? Like, of course, you're not going to get it up if you don't have that kind of confidence, right? So with the coaching, it's about how to first up figure out which of the three problems they're having. It could be a mixture of two, or it could be all three. Then
Mhm.
it's about figuring out, okay, so once you figure out which one or the main one, there's subcategories under that. So, for instance, physical, it could be sleep, it could be hormones. For the emotional side, it could be like if you're dealing with a breakup or feelings towards someone, it could be attraction, arousal. And for the mental, it could be, are you relaxed? Are you enjoying the experience? Are you just doing this to get another notch in the belt and you don't really care about what's this woman and you're not turned on? So it's about figuring out all of that first and then developing further and how can you become more present to the moment and actually enjoy the sexual experiences you're having. Now, when it comes to guys in relationships, the biggest thing that I see them do is they stop dating their partner. Like they feel like they get comfortable. Like they're like, oh, I've already got her
Mhm.
now, so I don't have to put in the effort.
Yeah.
And I did this myself, where it's like, we were doing all these cool things and stuff that we both enjoyed. But then it started getting like in these early relationships, it's like, okay, now we're just going to watch movies. I get home from work, and that's sort of it. And it's like
Yeah.
6 months down the line, she's like, oh, we're breaking up. You're not the same person. It's like, well, I'm still the same person. But it's like, in some regards, I think like, and this is what I was doing, was it was kind of an act going out doing all these things because like all I wanted to do was like show off a little bit, get the girl, and it's like, okay, I'm done. Let's get married, have some kids, and we're locked in. And there's
Mhm.
these guys that, yeah, once they're married or long-term relationships, the girl's feeling neglected, resentful. Eventually, she cheats or leaves, and then where's the guy left? And most of the time, it's simply just fixing that part of the relationship, building back the passion and desire, and bringing that back. And then it solves, like we spoke about before, it solves most problems when she's feeling wanted, desired, passion back in the relationship, and like she's actually got a partner rather than some like potato in the background.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's interesting what you said. Yeah, a lot of guys at some point in the relationship they kind of let off the gas and they let themselves kind of let themselves go. Basically, that even I mean, it's not just with the girls. It's also like they don't go to the gym anymore. They don't work that
Yep.
much on their goals. They get very comfortable, and the girl can sense that, and then she kind of resents him for that.
Mm.
Definitely, yeah, I've seen this a lot. And I don't know if you read the book, The Sex God Method. Have you read that book, maybe? By Daniel
Yeah,
Rose.
yeah, a long time
Yeah.
ago. That was one of the things that sort of started me off on the journey a little bit.
Yeah, it was a great book. And he talks about those four acronyms like DEVI. So you
Yep.
have like dominance,
Dominance, emotion,
emotions, variety, and
variety, and
emergence.
intent,
And immersion.
emotion. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I guess some of what you teach is like teaching guys how to become more dominant in the bedroom, add variety
Mhm.
to their sexual experiences, become more immersed so they're not in their heads, add emotionality. So what are some of the I don't know, some of the biggest tip you could get a guy. Let's say a guy is like a robot in the bedroom. Like he doesn't have any
Mhm.
emotionality. He doesn't really know what to do. He's really a newbie. Like maybe he had sex only a few times. What would you recommend for him to get better at, yeah, at basically generating a lot of emotions with the girl during sex and having a more memorable experience, a better experience for the girl and for himself too during
So
sex?
the biggest thing is getting comfortable with your sexuality. So you're able to actually have those conversations. So before I have sex with any new girl, I pretty much know everything she's into, and I'm making that decision whether I'm into the same things. It's obviously we're going to have great, the chemistry is going to be great, the sex is going to be great. Now, if she's not into the similar things, as similar things as I am, it's probably not going to be that great. So I can then, move on or whatever it is. A lot of guys, they have no idea what they're into. Or if they're especially the nice guy, they're only into what she's into.
Mm,
And they're not comfortable around sexuality, so they don't even ask the questions. Or when they ask it, it comes off a little bit weird or maybe a little bit creepy. So what I would say is guys need to figure out what they actually like. So, whether it's writing down like some things that they've seen or some things they've experienced. This is where like I'm not a major advocate for porn. I don't want anyone getting into porn addiction or anything like that because that can fuck up your erections as well.
yeah.
But I think porn can be a good way of self-discovery of figuring out what you might be into. Now, you don't have to watch videos on it. You can read, you can look at articles and start to figure that out. Even some movies, you're like, oh, that scene kind of turned me on. Okay, so what turned you on about it? Was it that the guy was being like really dominant and, throwing around? It's like, so maybe you like that kind of play. Maybe you saw that she was tied up and blindfolded. Okay, so that's what you like. Same thing with a girl, and this is what I say to partners of mine, is I get them to read Nancy Friday's My Secret Garden if I'm going to see her long term, because that book is all about women's fantasies. And so I get them to send me, like, whenever they find one that they like, I get them to screenshot it and send it to me. And then that's actually a
Hmm.
fantasy we can live out in the bedroom together. And a lot of the time they're finding out fantasies that they didn't even know they had. Same with the BDSM test or anything like that. I use all these like different tests and books and stuff to kind of like get a gauge because yeah, like say the amount of times people don't talk about sex. They can have sex, but they can't talk about it with their partner. So these are like some
Hmm.
good starting ways of like getting someone to open up. Now, the other thing, like we were talking about before, the robots. So guys that aren't very vocal in the bedroom, that kind of just do the same technique over and over again, or the same sequence. Like the previous company I worked with, there was a guy who came to us and he couldn't get an erection if he didn't run the exact same routine every single time. So, he has to lick her out, then she has to give him a blowjob, then he has to fuck her like this, and then
Hmm.
that position and that. And it's like if anything
Yeah.
changes, he goes soft. And it's like, okay, so you need to break that down because eventually, like that's going to be amazing. Yes, she gets off, you get off, great. But after 3 or 4 times, she's going to know play by play. It's like watching the same movie over and over and over again,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's like eventually, it. So you need to break that down. Variety is so, so key. And that's why Daniel Rose put that in the book. Not every girl wants to be fucked like a whore and really rough all that time. Sometimes she's going to need that little bit of love making. Sometimes that little angelic girl that you're putting on a pedestal, sometimes she wants to be fucked. Like
Yeah.
it's just a matter of fact. And that's where like, the really nice guys, and this happened to me, and this is where I'm talking about it from, is where you get cheated on because all you're doing is putting her on this pedestal and giving her this what you think she wants because of what Hollywood's kind of taught us
Hmm.
about women, and they want all this romantic lovemaking. But it's like, no,
Yeah.
sometimes she wants to be this little whore, and you're shutting her down by not giving her that. So that's a major, major thing. Is like not always having sex the exact same way, mixing it up. So not always having it right before bed. Like I can't tell you how many times I've heard that story where it's like, she keeps saying no, and it's like, yeah, because you are at the end of the day, she's tired, looked after kids or you work, everything, and then you're always trying to have sex at the exact same time. It's boring. Where's the fun in it? So mixing it up, like playing with her in the kitchen, like getting her like feeling hot, heavy. Foreplay doesn't just start in the bedroom. Start teasing her like way before you even get there. And the likelihood
Hmm.
of you actually having sex and connecting with your partner is going to be so much more because she's so turned on and just waiting and ready for it rather than the 5 minutes before she goes to sleep.
Man, that's super interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Having some unpredictability in the process, because if it's always, as you said, the same sequence, the same positions, the same talk,
Yep,
it gets too predictable. I guess a big part of it also to add
exactly. And
emotionality is, sorry, go ahead. Yeah. What did you want
oh,
to add?
and the other thing at the end of sessions, having a sex survey. So I sit down like or like while we're cuddling, and I'll actually ask her, what did you enjoy? What did you not enjoy? What would you like to go deeper on? Because when they're in that sort of afterglow bliss of sex, they're so much more open. Whereas when you get her a little bit later, she might be a little bit more shut down or a bit nervous about expressing what she wants. So you can actually
Mm,
find out exactly what you can do next time to actually enhance the experience. And that's the trick, like the real trick to getting good with like a specific girl.
mm. So after sex, you asked her like, what did you enjoy the most? What's your favorite position? Stuff like
Yeah,
that,
what
basically.
yeah, everything that I did. So I'm getting a breakdown of it's like if you ask a girl like when you sleep with the when was the moment you knew that you wanted to sleep with me? You're getting like feedback on your game, essentially. Like when was the moment the attraction was strong enough? I'm getting it on my sex game. So I'm like, what did you enjoy? And then I'm also figuring out what did she not like or not really want to try again so that I'm not like pushing on that and I can just keep like every time I have sex with the same girl, it's just going to get better, 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 and better because I'm eliminating the things that don't work and I'm just adding new things that are going to just like turn things way up.
Mm-hmm. Ah, that's really interesting. Yeah. But there's also a nuance. Maybe like some guys, they ask the girl in a way like, "Oh, did you like it? Did you like sex?" And that's not that good, right? When you try to get
No,
her validation. So
y
there's a nuance there too.
exactly it. Like,
Yeah.
did you? Yeah, if you can't be like, oh, did you come or oh, did you like it? Did you? It's like no.
Yeah.
So, what did you like the? I'm just curious. Like, what did you like the most about that? It's
Mm.
coming off very calm and very collected with the tonality and everything like that. But it's also very specific in what I'm asking. It's not, did you like it? Like, what is that? Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
what? How does she answer that? So being like, okay, what did you like the most? Okay, which part were you not really sure on, or what part would you not like to do again?
Hmm.
Like, there's a whole different view of like, oh, did you like it or not?
I see what you mean. Okay.
Mm.
And in terms of BDSM, like when do you usually introduce that with a new girl? Like, is it from the first time you have sex, or is it, or it depends, or like usually is there a transition? Is there consent to it? Like, how do you go about it? I'm sure you teach that too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely consent. So, and this comes down to me, like I really, at this stage of my life, I really love BDSM. So I'm going to one, attract those kind of girls towards me. And then I'm always going to have that conversation because I'm very comfortable talking about my sexuality and what I'm into. And I'm able to create that safe zone for a girl to feel non-judgment. So she actually opens up to me. So I do like light testing to see, okay, she's kind of into this, so she might be into this. She might be into that.
Hmm.
Oh, she's really into that. Okay, so then I'm always making these like little jumps, and then it's like maybe I'll find where she's not into it. And it could be something that's super extreme, or it could be something very low level. And it's like if this is something I really like, we're probably not going to connect if I can't do it because I know for me, if I'm not really into it, the sex isn't going to be good because I can't give it my all because we're not compatible. And I think this is a big problem that a lot of guys do is they just try and get their dick into any girl and they're not thinking about, okay, but what is it actually going to be like? And so, yeah, by actually focusing on like, am I actually going to enjoy this experience with this girl? It also just changes the dynamic completely.
So before having sex, you actually ask her like her sexual preferences and whether she's into
Yeah.
BDSM and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll make some
Hmm.
assumptions about her based on certain things I understand about her
Yeah.
blueprint and archetype. And like I said, I'm also tend to attract those kind of girls. So whatever vibe I'm putting out tends to bring them to me. So there's a higher likelihood.
Hmm.
It's very rare that I'm end up meeting a girl or going on a date where she's not into some aspect of kink and BDSM.
Is it because she sees from your social media that you're doing this, or is it just in general
Well,
like?
no, in general, because even with cold approach, same thing. I end up just finding the kinky girls. Like my mates, we're always amazed. They're like, how do you always find these like girls that are into all this like really fucked up stuff? I'm like, I have no idea. They just seem to sense it. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, and I think with things like 50 Shades of Grey, 365 Days, I think people are more open and wanting to explore. And the way that, like, because of my experience, the way that I can explain it and talk about it, there are some girls that have done no kink at all. And they're like, but the way you talk about it just intrigues me. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, like let's try this. And then that's where it's like, okay, so starting low level. It's not like a girl's like, I've never done kink, and then I'm in there like flogging her as hard as I can, tied up and all that, like whip chains and everything. It's like, okay, let's start slow. Let's start with this next one, and then seeing where she goes. And then that's also a chance for her to see what the world is like. And usually after those experiences where it's more low level, she wants to experience more. And it's the same thing with sex. Like you always want to leave them wanting more. You want
Yeah.
them like addicted to that. Whereas I think a lot of guys, and this is coming from a lot of the women that I've spoken to, they've wanted to try it, and then the guys have just replicated what they've seen in a movie or porn, where it's like, they get in there and just start spanking her as hard as they can. And she's like, no, I hated it. The amount of times I've like spoken to a girl, I'm like, oh, like, do you like, or I think you like to be choked. And she's like, oh, no, no, no. I'm like, okay, wait. Have you had this before? And she's like, yes, and it hurt. I'm like, okay, so was the guy doing it wrong? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And then I'll demonstrate bad choking and good choking. And she's like, oh no, I like the way that you do it. So
Mm.
sometimes it's small nuances like that where they've just had a bad experience or someone's gone too far, whereas I baby step it up just so that I'm not traumatizing them essentially.
Hmm. No, that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of guys who are doing it wrong. I remember for choking, for example, a lot of guys they choke her like here, like
Yeah.
here instead of here in the
Yep.
stuff like that. I remember. Yeah, there's a lot of different mistakes and nuances, etc. So you teach guys like specific techniques that they can do in the bedroom and stuff like that. That's what you do
Yep.
also.
So yeah, so I teach like female anatomy. So there's 41 erogenous zones on the woman's body. I teach all of that. I teach, how to finger, how to touch, how to stimulate all those different areas. I teach like dirty talk because can just turn a
Yeah,
woman on. Like the number one sexual organ for a woman is the mind. So
it's
if you can
her mind. Yeah.
stimulate that, yeah, if you can stimulate that, like there's no telling what you can do. Like the amount of girls that I just send a voice message of what I'm going to do to her, and we haven't actually been talking for that long. And she's like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
I've had girls like talk about their masturbating to messages I've sent or to voice messages I've sent because they're waiting for the date. It's by turning them on, and even with that, I'm testing. So if say we met cold approach or on an app, in the days leading up to the date, I'm still dropping in little seeds of things that she might be into. So by the date, there's a good chance I know every little thing that she's into, so that when we have sex, I don't have to ask anything, and it's like I
Mm.
know what she wants.
Yeah, so we all know that, yeah, arousal is all psychological at first. You have to arouse her mind first so that her body also gets aroused as well after that. But how can a guy improve his dirty talk? Because it's a hard thing to learn if you're just starting out and you never learned it. So how would you go about it?
Yeah, so this is also something that I didn't know I was doing back in the start. Like I wouldn't even make any noise kind of thing. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of guys do struggle with that. But one, it is okay to make noise. And two, she's going to love it. Like I don't know any guy, I've never met a guy who doesn't love to hear a woman moan during sex. I've never met a guy who just wants a completely silent woman. She wants the same. She wants to know that she's doing just as good a job, like especially if she's giving you a blowjob, riding you, and she's like taking control a little bit in that regard where she's giving to you. Like she wants to know she's doing something good.
Mm.
So give her that positive affirmation or reinforcement. She's going to want to do it more as well. And she's going to know when she's close rather than her having to ask, oh, is this okay? Like same thing for you as a guy. Like, when she's getting louder or whatever, she's going to be enjoying it a lot more. So I tell guys to start with that. Just get comfortable with moaning, being like, oh, yes, that feels good. Just some basic things like that is a really good stepping stone. Don't just jump straight into, some of the most extreme things you've read or heard because it's going to come off incongruent and you're going to feel nervous and it's not going to come out right. So start with the moaning. Then from there, what you want to do is start like narrating about what's actually happening. So yeah, I love the way that you suck my cock. Like getting comfortable in those kind of like slightly longer phrases instead of just the
Mm.
yeah kind of things. Then once you've got that, what I recommend is again figuring out the kind of things that you like. So figuring out also what does she like to be called and what does she not like to be called. Because some girls that I've found they love to be called a whore, but they hate the idea of being called a slut. Now, in a lot of
Mm.
places, we sort of make them the same thing, but there are different connotations and different words. Like some women like being called a slut and a whore, but not a bitch. So it's like figuring out those nuances because saying the wrong thing in the moment can destroy everything, or it can bring up some trauma for her. And again, a situation I was in where I thought I did check, and she said she was okay with the word whore. I said it in the middle of sex, and she had a massive freak out over it because of some trauma from an ex-boyfriend. So it's understanding those things can be really, really important. And some girls aren't into the degradation at all. So you want to know like what is okay to say and what's not. Most girls are always going to be okay with good girl. Like most girls love that. So that's another way of slowly stepping in, being like, oh, you're such a good girl. Oh, I love the way that you suck my cock. Like again, low level phrases. And it doesn't matter if it comes off a little bit not as confident, because you're just sort of expressing yourself. After that step, then you can start practicing either in the mirror or to a voice recorder or your phone, and start saying like the things you want to say, because that's when tonality starts becoming really important. So if you want to give her certain commands, like get on your knees for me, turn around, like you can start practicing with that as well before you're even like before your penis is in or anything like that. You can start giving those commands, like when you're kissing her, it's like turn around for me. Get comfortable giving those commands, then move to the next step where it's like, you're my filthy little whore. Like, oh, we were just at your Christmas party, and I bet you would have loved the fact that I fucked you in the bathroom so all your bosses could have heard, like all that kind of stuff. You start playing into, those more extreme fantasies. And this is how I used to test girls for certain experiences. So some girls are into exhibitionism and all that. So I would start telling these fantasies during sex and then see her reaction. If she's getting like wilder and getting close to an orgasm, I'm like, cool. After the sex, we're having a little talk, and I'm like, oh, like I know that I brought up this whole like exhibitionist, like fucking you in the park or whatever. Like, is that something you've wanted to explore before? And she's like, oh yeah, but I'm really nervous. It's like, okay, well we can try that. It's a good stepping stone. Or some girls have never thought of it before, but now hearing it, they're like, holy shit, that's now a fantasy. And I've done some where like pretty much the whole sex session is me fucking her while telling this elaborate story.
So basically, you're seeding things basically in her mind while having sex. You're preceding some scenarios, and then so that after sex, you're making them happen, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Or discovering what she's into, or playing more into it. So, for instance, if I already know she's an exhibitionist, I can then create more and more elaborate stories. And again, for her mind, it's about 20% technique, 80% mindset and her mind. So by just telling these stories, you can take your sex from here to here. Like she can go from coming to or not coming to coming just based on the story that you tell her, or from some dirty talk.
Well, what's a story, for example, that you tell? Like it's a pre-made story, it's a canned story that you make up, or like a scenario that you make up?
If I can, it's based deliberately on the girl and what I know about her. So there was an ex of mine where she was going to her sister's wedding. So I'm telling her this whole story about how I'm going to bend her over the table in front of all of her friends and family and fuck her in front of them. And like that just kept turning her on, and then talk about what a dirty little whore she's going to be. Everyone's going to know, like that, and just sent her wild and over the edge. It was insane, like just to see like how different and how much, like without me changing much in terms of how I'm the technique that I'm doing, but just to see the reaction with her mind just developing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a good one. This one is a good one. Okay, so she tells you about something, maybe an event she's going to, and then you tell her how you're gonna kind of degrade her at that event and how you're gonna do things to her at that event, basically. Okay.
Yeah, if she's into the exhibitionism and if she's into the degradation. Yep.
Okay, no, that's pretty good. Yeah, and I like what you said about commands too, commanding her throughout sex, because a lot of guys, they ask like, oh, can I do this to you? Or, oh, can I go down on you? Or can I do that? I mean, sometimes, yeah, you want to ask obviously her preferences, but sometimes you just want to lead and dominate by just, doing it instead of asking, assuming it, like commanding her to do things, so that's a big one. I like also what you said. Go ahead.
Yeah, and knowing like if she is really submissive, don't ask. Like it is, give the command without forcing it. So you're not like suck my cock while you're like trying to like push her head down forcefully or anything like that.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, it's like suck my cock. And then if she has any hesitation or resistance to that, then you can kind of figure out what's going on. But a lot of the time, she's going to want that like you to lead, especially if she's extremely submissive.
Yeah. And I'd like to come back to what you said earlier about like telling her like, oh, you're my slut or you're my whore, etc. I read once that there's a big nuance between telling a girl she's a slut, or telling a girl she's your slut, like, oh, you're my
Oh
slut,
yeah.
my whore, etc. They like being owned, kind of, also, when you
Yes.
speak it to some extent, yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. And this is where, like, again, with the dirty talk, going from slut to my slut. Like that,
Hmm.
yeah, exactly as you said, the ownership element. The amount of times where I'm like, oh, you're my filthy little whore or my fuck doll or something like that, and then they'll repeat it. It's like, and it's a
Hmm.
big ego boost for the guy as well. So that another great one to like play with, and you just feel so good, like this, like sexy little thing, just saying like I'm yours, or even if you feel hesitation around saying slut, it's like I own you, you're my property, or something like that. Again, if the girl's really into it, she'll go crazy for it.
Hmm. Yeah. No, really interesting. And what do you think about introducing toys during sex? Like, what do you teach guys also? Like, you introduce toys every single time? Do you think that people need to introduce toys, or it's totally fine to not have any toys and you can just do it without toys as well most of the time?
Yeah. So of course you can do everything without toys. That's totally fine. A lot of men like back in the day, I thought if I used toys or needed lube, I wasn't doing a good job. I wasn't a man. Like I need this help. I know some guys have this fear that the woman's going to leave them for a toy. Now I just want to make it clear,
Mm,
you're still a man if you use toys, and she's not going to leave you for a toy, right? It's think of it as, and this is how I like to explain it to my clients. It's like when you learn martial arts with a weapon or something. It's just an extension of yourself. And to illustrate this, I actually did a test where I put zero, like pretty much zero effort into having sex with this one girl. And all I did was use toys essentially. And then at the end, put my dick in, didn't give her a really good experience from myself. But the way she went back to this mutual group that we're a part of and just was telling everyone, holy shit, that was the best experience I've had. Like, I don't even know what he did to me. So she's never going to be thinking, oh, it was the toy that did this. It's always going to be you. She's always
mm,
going to attribute it to you. So toys are just that little bit that can actually make like good sex, and great sex, amazing sex. If you want to, like, and I do this when I'm feeling lazy or tired. Like, and
mm.
again, she will still think, holy fuck, he gave me that experience. So
Yeah.
in terms of like, if you want to go into some toys that I recommend, the number one is the Hitachi wand, or if you can get like a remote, sorry, not a remote one, a battery operated one, so you don't have to worry about cables and plugging it in. The magic ones are fucking insane, and they're just really great for every occasion.
This is a
Blindfolds
vibrator?
and handcuffs are really great.
The wand,
Yeah,
is it a
yeah.
vibrator? Okay.
Um, yeah, it's one. If you give me one sec, I'll actually grab it. Oh, got that.
Okay.
Shit. Um,
Mm,
yeah. So
okay.
this is a magic wand, and yeah, these are so much fun. And they're just great because they're a good like all-purpose kind of tool. You can use it just solo. You can use it while you're actually having sex. Uh, yeah, so foreplay or actual core play as well.
Hmm. Okay. And now at this point, do you use toys every single time, or do you depends?
No, not it. It really does depend. So again, if I'm like been so busy with work and I just don't have the energy, I'll bring them in a bit more. If I want to take a girl on a certain experience, so there was a girl I've seen recently, and she wanted to have the most intense experience she's ever had. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is the idea that I have, which was putting a remote butt plug in her butt, my cock in her pussy, and the wand on her clit, and
Mm,
me just fucking her like that until she couldn't come anymore. And there was a point where she had to essentially give up because it was just so intense. But then the same girl, there are some nights where it's just a matter of like just the two of us connecting, whether it's like the more passionate kind of sex and more like connecting lovemaking, or if it is actually just more like degrading kind of fun, interesting kind of experience. So again,
mhm.
if you're using toys all the time, that's where it's like there's going to be an issue because certain toys like the wand or a clit sucker, they can actually desensitize the clit. So there was a girl I was seeing for a while where she used it was very easy for me to get her off orally, and then as soon as she started using the Satisfyer Pro 2 for too long, it actually became harder and harder for me to get her off with my mouth.
Mm.
So being careful around that is very important as well.
Yeah, no, definitely they can get desensitized. I mean, if she's always fucking like a big horse cock like every single every single week, then she's gonna get desensitized to like a normal dick, you know? Like it's sometimes yeah, that plays into her how well she's stimulated too. Like yeah. Um
Yep.
so yeah, and in terms of dirty talk, like what I've learned personally is just about mixing like sexual nouns, sexual verbs, and sexual adjectives together, kind of most of the time. Like, for example, I like how your adjective noun feels against my adjective noun. You know, like, I like how I like how your tight pussy feels against my huge cock, or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
like basically sometimes you can make it easy like that by just mixing sexual verbs, sexual nouns, sexual adjectives in the same sentence,
Yep.
stuff like that. Do you have another tip in terms of dirty talk that guys could learn, or something else maybe? Because I think I mean I hear guys like telling me that they're struggling with it. So if you have another thing that you want to share about that, feel free as well about dirty talk.
Yeah, so pretty much what you're talking about is just explaining what's happening in the moment. Like that is the
Yeah.
easiest form of dirty talk is literally expressing how you feel in that moment. So
Okay.
what you said, I love how your pussy feels on my cock, or I love how this feels like that, or I love the way that you do this. Like it's so simple. It's just like you because there's probably a point where you're thinking that exact thing. It's like, oh fuck, the way she rides me. The amount of times like, oh shit, the way that you ride me, oh my God. Like stuff like
Okay.
that.
You just say what you're experiencing. Basically, you talk about what you're experiencing.
Yeah,
Mm.
if it doesn't have to be this super elaborate story, and a lot
Yeah.
of the time it's not. It's just when I want to give that experience that I'll do it, or even mixing those in. So sometimes there'll be like a little bit of an elaborate story, and then go back into the basics, and again, variety. There's no rules when it comes to sex besides consent. So it's like
Hmm.
just play around and try, like and that's sort of how you can make sex go for hours on end as well, like by just playing in between all of these different ideas and things that you have.
Hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. And what do you say to guys who maybe they're able to get a date with a very hot girl, like they're able to get a date, they have the hot girl. After the date, the girl comes to their place, but then when it comes to having sex, they get this performance anxiety where like, oh, she's fucking hot, and they don't get hard. And I know it happened to me. I mean, I remember I pulled some girls sometimes, they were super hot, like perfect body, etc. And it was intimidating. Like I didn't get hard for a while, and then after I relaxed, and after a while, then I got hard. But it was hard in the. It was yeah. It was it. Honestly, I felt ashamed a bit, like to not get hard
Mhm.
because she was super hot, etc. So, what do you tell guys usually in those situations, like when that happens?
Yeah, so in that situation, we know 100% that is a mental
Yeah.
issue that's popping up, right? We don't have to go over anything else. So then we have to figure out, okay, so why are you feeling that performance anxiety? Okay, she's super hot, and you're like, fuck, I have to perform because I have to see her again, all that. The best thing to do in that situation is to focus on her pleasure first. Start getting into it to see if you can start getting that erection. Don't worry about am I going to get it in the future? Just start enjoying, right? Now, if you're still in your head and not present to the moment, it's going to be very difficult because you're still like, oh shit, she's still so hot. Oh my God, now I've got to do this. It's like, just be honest at that point, right? The reason you're struggling with this performance anxiety is because you don't want her to know. You don't want her to know that you're not getting your dick up and you're worried about what she's going to think and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Now, what happens when you tell her what's going on for you, right? It's like two things. She's either going to be very supportive or she can be a really like a bitch about it, right? And if she's going to be like a real bitch to you about it and be like, oh, wait, what the fuck? Do you even want to have sex with that girl? Do you even want her in your life? Like, if she's going to belittle you and like make all these assumptions about you,
Yeah.
I personally don't. So I would be like, all right, cool, see ya. But when she's supportive and she's like, oh, that's all right, like, and you're like, cool, well, there's other things we can be doing. And then again, you can go either start into going into like focusing on her, you can go into cuddling, you can go into connecting more. Like one of my clients, for him, it was just he needs more of a connection with a girl to actually be able to get the erection. It doesn't matter how hot she is, it's just the connection.
Mm.
So, and then as soon as he lets up and is like, stops trying to hide it, gets in, they maybe cuddle for a bit, they're cuddling, and then he'll start getting the erection out of nowhere, like maybe half an hour,
Yeah.
2 hours later, because this big secret, the world is like lifted off of his shoulders, the weight's off
Mm.
his shoulders, sorry. Um, So yeah, that's sort of the big one. And the way you can do this isn't like, because a girl in that situation, she's also going to be blaming herself. And
Exactly.
I had
Yeah.
a yeah, I had a I was living with this guy, and I could hear from his room this girl getting so upset, being like, "What the fuck? Like, do you not find me attractive? Just tell me." Like, she was so like this would have been traumatizing to her, because he just wouldn't say what was actually going on, and she just kept blaming herself. She's like, "Just tell me anything you're into, I'll do it. Just fucking tell me." And there was nothing he could say unless he was honest, being like, "Hey, look, the truth is, I find you incredibly sexy. But sometimes this happens just because I'm a little bit nervous. Like maybe I haven't had enough sleep. Like I've been a bit stressed. Like you can make up whatever you want, or you can just be like, you're
Yeah.
just so fucking hot that, sometimes this
Usually,
happens. And yeah,
yeah, no, I was about to say, usually when that happens, I say, yeah, my dick is a bit shy in the beginning, like when the first
yeah,
time, blah, 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 something like
yeah,
that, you know? I make up
yeah, and
something, but I laugh about it. You want to also do it in a
exactly.
playful way.
You
Yeah,
you don't make a
yeah,
big deal of it. If you make
yeah.
it a big deal, it becomes a big deal. So it's like, yeah, yeah, hey, sometimes this happens, like, you're fucking incredibly sexy. And so you brought up the problem and then you suggest a solution. So you're not just like leaving this big thing in there. It's like, but like you're so sexy, I just want to go down on you, or I just want to like play with your body and just enjoy it. Because again, so many guys are focused on their own pleasure and their cock that this girl's gonna be like, wait, what? Like you're gonna play with me, make me feel really good, and you don't even expect to have anything back?
Mm,
Shit, yeah, I'm in. And then usually, again, if you relax in that time, she's going to be so excited that she's like, holy shit, I am really turning him on, and she's going to want to play with you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, sometimes also, yeah, you want to be a giver and not expect something in return all the
Hmm.
time. Sometimes it's great to give, and yeah, I noticed that. Now, a lot of guys also I've seen in the red pill space, they say that going down on a woman is very submissive. You shouldn't be doing that. It's a pussy move. Like you don't go down on a girl. What do you
Hmm.
think about that?
Absolutely bullshit. I actually had a story about that. One of my posts got taken off on another Instagram page, and the amount of guys commenting that exact thing. But the thing is, if your dominance is destroyed by one little act of eating pussy, were you really
Mm,
even dominant to begin with? Like to me, any alpha kind of guy, dominant guy, isn't going to lose all of his power just from that. And then the other
mm,
thing that I'll say to that is if you don't know how much power and control you have over a woman by just a little flick of your tongue, you haven't been eating pussy right. Like it
mm,
is one like some guys I've spoken to, that's when they feel most in control because it's like at that moment I can give her what she wants or I can hold it back and make her beg for it. Like at any moment, there is nothing like that. Even when she's riding, some guys will be like, "Oh, a girl can't sit on top of me because then she's like, then it's submissive." And it's like, no, you still take control from the bottom. You can still lead her. You can still grab her hips. You can move her in. It's like just one small thing doesn't make you dominant or submissive. It's
yeah.
everything stacked up.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's not just one thing. It's like in an interaction with a girl. Like it's
Yep,
not just one element. It's not just the opener. It's the whole interaction that matters. So
100%.
I see what you mean. Yeah. No, very interesting, man. There's a lot of points we shared so far. I think the listeners and the viewers are going to get a lot of value out of this.
I hope so.
Besides that, I mean. Yeah, one of the major problems too is like premature ejaculation. Not the fact of not getting hard, but also like the fact of like coming too soon. I've had that too, where I
Mhm.
would just penetrate a girl for like 2 seconds, and then because of the pressure, I would just come so fast. That happened to me too. So what do you tell guys? Is it like a breathing exercise that you do? I remember I watched videos like you need to breathe in, etc., stuff like that, or the Kegel exercise. What do you tell guys usually about that? Guys who come too soon.
O- Okay, mental, emotional, and physical again. Usually more physical. So you've got to look at your masturbation habits. So if you're a guy who's sitting at a computer, you're trying to jerk off as hard and as quick as you can, that's going to be an issue because essentially you're trying to train for a marathon by sprinting, right?
Mm.
So by jerking off within 2 minutes, you're training your body to come in 2 minutes or less. Then if it's like a lot of time it's so we go more the mental. It's oh my God, this girl's so hot. Oh my God, what if I put it in and that performance anxiety kicks in? it's about relaxing. So there's relaxing the body, and then there's the breathing. So, and also those guys that aren't making any noise in bed, got to think of like sexual energy, and it's building up in your body. If you're silent, it can't go anywhere. So where's it going to go? The only place it can, out your dick. So when you're actually
Mm.
moaning and enjoying it, you're actually letting that flow out of you, and so that you can actually last longer. Now, the other thing is, what position are you in? Missionary, for instance, where you're bending over, you're on your knees, you're actually quite tense in your hips and your groin. And because that area is tense, you're more likely going to come. So looking at what positions, also, how do you masturbate? So if you're always masturbating, sitting in a chair, again, that's sort of more a tense groin area. So you've trained your body to come when it feels that kind of tension in the body. If you're always masturbating lying down, there's going to be a difference there. And I've actually spoken to
Mm.
different guys, and we've compared like our masturbation habits, and it's like very interesting the positions we come quicker in based on that, or which positions we can actually last longer in. So you want to look at that as well. Then yeah, stretching can be really good, but then also, like you said, the breathing can be an amazing one. So there's square breathe, yeah, box breathing, triangle breathing, all that. And again, that's kind of when you start to focus on the breathing, it kind of takes you out of the moment a little bit. So you're not focused on, oh shit, she's so fucking hot. You're like, oh, my breath. And then you're back.
Mm.
And it's still way better than trying to think about grandma or baseball or
Yeah,
whatever else.
exactly. People sometimes they think about their grandma or something. Yeah, yeah, I know
Yeah,
this
no,
this tips. Yeah.
that I think that'll give you some other kind of issues when you come and thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I like what you said, like by being in the moment and like just starting to express what you're feeling or like just moaning or stuff like that, you're getting out of your body and like you're getting out of your head more and more into your the
Mhm.
sensations and focusing on being more present, you know. So that's a big one,
Yep.
yeah. Because if the guy doesn't speak at all during sex, is not breathing at all, and he's all in his head and like trying to not come, eventually he's gonna come too fast. And that's gonna yeah I like what you said.
Exactly it. And also, there's nothing wrong with taking a pause. So say you're inside of her and you're
Yeah.
really close to the edge. Hold that moment, go down, start kissing her, and don't think, oh, I've got to pull out. Because what I find with a lot of guys, they as they're pulling out, that's the last stroke that actually sends them over the edge. So just hold it in there wherever you are. Just pause, tell her to stop moving, go in, kiss her, hold eye contact, whatever it is you want to do in that moment, breathe, and then go back into it.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's a big one. Yeah, whenever you feel like you're on the edge, you can either pull out or don't move. And yeah, I
And
like
tell her,
to yeah tell her too. Yeah,
yeah,
and yeah, whenever I feel like I'm on the edge, I like to pull out and then just finger her and then
yep,
come back when I'm ready to go back again. Yeah. In
yep,
terms of fingering, a big one that I've developed over the years is like making them squirt all the time. Like every single time,
yep,
I will make them squirt because there's a technique to it, right? And you can,
yep.
and it's so easy when you learn it, and then it's evergreen. And some girls are super surprised, like, "Oh, how did you do this? Like, it's the first time I had that," and stuff like that. And so squirting is a big one too. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, squirting is amazing. Some girls, it's if you do it like right at the start, it can sort of ruin the rest of sex for them.
Really?
So
Okay.
yeah, because if they've never experienced it before and they're a bit more like reserved, it might be just too intense, and you might have to take that big break. So you can do it at the start and then just sort of see what happens, or you can mix it in with the sex. So like you
Mm.
can be fucking her for a bit, finger her, sorry, make a squirt, or make a squirt right at the end. There's so many ways you can play with it. It's usually about 80% mental, 20% technique. So, for instance, if she doesn't want to squirt, if she thinks, like, if she has some bad mindsets around squirting, probably not going to work. Like, if she thinks that it's piss, she thinks she's going to make a mess, she will actually hold her body back from doing it. So, you've got
Yeah.
to sometimes get those limiting beliefs out of her head. And then you just get that last technique, which is, obviously the Spider-Man grip, pulling up. It can be quite tiring sometimes. So, you got to get
Yeah.
in there for the long haul sometimes, guys. But yeah, it can be. It's not something I want to do all the time, especially if I'm going to go to bed not long after and have like this big wet patch. But it
Yeah,
can be
it's so
really
annoying
fun.
sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes you go back to sleep with your bed all wet and it's
Yep.
yeah, it sucks
Yeah.
sometimes.
Pro tip: either get a mattress protector or get some waterproof sheets if you're going to be doing it all the time, because I've ruined a couple of mattresses like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. And but you said earlier that like when you date a girl, before going on a date with her, sometimes you plant seeds via text and you send her voice notes of what you're gonna do to her. But
Yep.
isn't that sometimes like kind of a turn off too, where like they're like, okay, this guy is so talking about sex so much, even before I even met him, even before sex, and so they get a bit turned off by that. Because usually I try to personally, if I haven't met the girl before, like I wouldn't necessarily try to overly sexualize via text. So what's your experience with that? Like, I'm curious.
Uh, Nuance and calibration. So
Mm,
100% depends on the girl. So there are some girls I will never do that to, but if the conversation has sort of led that way, we're talking about that, and she seems like very sexually open, sexually confident, I'm
yeah.
going to probably talk about it a little bit more. Can also depend on which app you're on, depending like, so Tinder might be more okay than Hinge sometimes, you know?
Mm,
And there are some other more like friendly apps that, or sex positive apps that you can go on as well. So it really does come down to what kind of natural, like I'm not trying to force the subject into sex, but if it
mhm.
naturally progresses that way, then we kind of like, again, drop a little seed. It's like compliance hoops, you know, you
Exactly.
drop it, does she jump into it? Oh, she actually really wants that. Okay, then I'm gonna again.
Mhm.
It's always baby stepping. I never go from 0 to 100. It's always like next step, next step, next step, and then
Yeah.
okay, this is the limit. This is where I'm gonna like pause, and then when we're on the date, then we can go up to here. But
Mhm.
the kind of girl that I want is kind of a girl who is open to talking about sexuality and going deeper in terms of that. I don't necessarily want the very vanilla virgin kind of girl at this stage in my life. So if I talk about sex and she completely shuts down, I'm probably going to be like, hey, look, I'm not actually interested, you know? So
Mhm.
it also comes down to the girl that you want to actually bring into your life.
Mhm. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's and absolutely true. It comes down to compliance, and in the beginning, you have to test the waters. Yeah, I see what you mean. No, very interesting. And usually, when you date a new girl, do you introduce yourself as a sex coach? And how does that work? Like when you meet a girl on Tinder or on Bumble? Because I know some guys actually they use that as a technique. Like, oh, I'm a
Mhm.
sex coach. I can give you multiple orgasms, blah blah blah, and like they use that as a technique. So what's your point? What's your stand? Like, how do you?
Yeah, so actually, I was there when that was created on a specific boot camp, which is funny
Mhm.
enough. So yeah, we were all running around doing that. Funnily enough, then I actually became a sex coach. Um, but yeah, it again depends on the girl. So some girls, I start off with, oh, I'm an online marketer. Some girls, it's like more, oh, I'm a men's coach. You know, I help them with some confidence stuff. Um,
Mhm.
until I get sort of a bit further in, like especially if it's just off the open, because again, if I'm in a more conservative country, it is going to be a good chance that I am going to be judged for that, or certain assumptions are going to be made. Whereas, yeah, which I don't want. So, but again, if she's super open, and again, some apps I'm a bit more open with that. So, like on FetLife, I actually say I run a sexuality company, and that's where they can actually ask that kind of question. Whereas,
Okay.
yeah, Bumble, there's no real mention of that. It's just I run an online business.
What is the app you mentioned? FedLife.
FetLife, it's like a kink Facebook.
FedLife. Okay.
Yep.
How do you spell it?
FETLIFE.
Okay, Fet.
Yeah,
Okay,
Fet
Fet
Life.
Life. Okay, Fet Life. Okay. Never heard of it.
Yep.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. It's essentially the Facebook of kink.
Okay, and it's on mobile, like you can have it. It's not
Uh,
swiping and stuff. You don't match with people. It's more social media.
yeah, it's just people have profiles. It's a mix between Facebook and Reddit. Like you can go into a group, post something, and then people can comment and like it and stuff.
Hmm.
Technically, there's not a real app, but if you go to the website, you can download like the web extension, and it becomes an app on
Hmm.
the phone.
Is there a specific app like Tinder, but for kinky people, like where you can match with people locally and globally and stuff like that?
There are a few. They do. Some of them are legit. Some of them aren't. There is another
Mhm.
one called FET. I've tried that out, but I think it is a lot more like bot kind of profiles. And it
Okay.
also comes, I think, down to where you are in the world. So, for instance, like in Australia, I don't know if you know the app Badu.
Yeah, Badu,
At
yeah,
all.
yeah. But
Yeah. So,
that's more of a website like chat roulette, like where you
oh
can.
no, it's more like a app here. The Badu
Okay.
that I've got at
Ah,
least,
no,
because it's
sorry. I confused it with Bazookan. There's something
oh
Bazookan and then chat roulette and then Omegle. I remember
yeah,
Omegle
they're
also.
they're the same.
Sorry, it's another thing. No,
Yeah.
Badu
So
is another thing. Okay.
Yeah, so for instance, in Australia, I tried Badoo. If like maybe it's also like just because it's been a while since I've done it, but in Australia there was a lot more fake profiles. But when I came to Europe, a lot more people are actually legit over here. So it can come down to where you are in the world, which app is going to be better.
Hmm. Okay. And have you ever done like with a client, for example, maybe a super high level client, you've done like almost a demo with him in the bedroom, or like you've seen what he was doing while with him, you see what I mean? Or maybe, I don't know.
No, not at this
Yeah.
stage. I
Okay.
mean, that would probably be pretty high ticket, and the guy would
Yeah.
also have to be comfortable with me coming into the room with him and
Yeah,
his
it's
girl,
yeah.
and obviously the girl
Okay.
has to be comfortable with that as well. But I mean, I've been to like quite a few sex parties and stuff like that, so no,
Hmm.
that wouldn't really be something that
Yeah.
off-puts me. It just comes down to them.
So you've been to like kind of swingers group, like swinger type of party or stuff like that?
Uh,
Or-
Not really swing. It's just proper like sex clubs, sex
Okay.
parties. Yeah, there was one country I was in for a while that got to the point where I was actually helping them set up and run the events a little bit. I actually took over like some of the rooms, gave demonstrations, and yeah, ran
Mm.
workshops.
Okay. No, really interesting. Okay. I had a final question, maybe also. Yeah, I mean, earlier you talked about you make girls basically at some point you make girls read like fantasies books like
Hmm.
Nancy Friday,
Yep.
Secret Garden. So you mean at some point in the relationship you kind of introduce her to specific books that would elicit in her specific fantasies, like she would get turned on by those, and you would. That's what
Mhm.
you do at some point. If okay.
Yeah. So step one would be the BDSM test. So I get them to fill that out. That also gives me a really quick blueprint of, okay, she's into these things. So now there's less that I actually have to ask her, or I can actually get her to explain it, which while she's explaining it, she's going to get turned on. The amount of girls that actually have told me that they got wet doing the test was quite interesting. So yeah, start with that. And then what I'll do is like, if I see this, like whatever the relationship is, we're just sort of seeing each other, fuck buddies, friends with benefits, whatever it is. If we're going to see each other longer term, then I actually want to dive deeper. So I'll be like, okay, here's a book. If she's open to actually reading and diving deeper into it, I've done like sort of just about every kind of relationship, open relationships, multiple girls, and then also going into full dom sub dynamics. So where I set them
Hmm.
tasks they have to do each day and each week, they get rewards, punishments, and all of that. So
Okay.
and that's fun because I will set that as one of the tasks is to read certain books or to give me certain ideas for play that we can have the next time we're together.
Okay. And what's the BDSM test? Is it you just ask them basically what they like, or is it
Oh
the test
no
that
no,
they fill in
it's
online?
an online test. So bdsmtest.org is and
Okay.
then it just comes
Wow.
up. It gives
Never
you like a break.
never heard of it.
It, yeah, there's a dom version, a sub version, or you can do both together. And then there's a short and long version. I always recommend to do the both and the long version because it's going to give you the most accurate results. And takes like 15, 20 minutes. They just go through, click the answers. It's on a scale of 0 to 10 for all the questions. And they get to
Mhm.
the end, and then it spits out just a scale of 0 to 100% and gives you a list of pretty much all the BDSM kind of terminologies and what they're going to be into and what they're not. It's not 100%
Mm.
accurate, but it's a good starting point.
Okay. Yeah. So you just tell the girls to fill in that test, and you see kind of the results and what they're into. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
interesting. And I know, for example, in Fifty Shades of Grey, he makes the girl sign like a contract, like a sub-dom contract, like so he doesn't get into
Mhm.
any trouble. What do
Yep.
you think about that? Like, let's say you have like a high-level entrepreneur who has like a super successful career, and he wants to do like dom sub type of. He wants to have like a dom sub type of dynamic with his girl. Does he need to protect
Mhm.
himself with like a contract or something, or is it okay to do it without? Usually, yeah.
So the thing with 50 Shades of Grey is there is actually abuse done in that where he does go past the point of consent and based on like the mutual understanding of the contract. So contracts are still good because like even relationships outside of BDSM, it can be good because it's even like a job description kind of thing. These are my roles, and it's like so you're very clear on what is expected of both people.
Mhm.
So that could be great. I have a spreadsheet that I give my clients where they can actually have the girl fill out everything she's into and give a scale of 1 to 5 what she's into, so that they can actually go through and like, okay, she likes this. This is her experience with it and all that. So you can actually, send it to her. She takes a day, fills it out. Now you know everything that you can and can't do. Same thing with that. It's like depending on the contract as well, you can go into what can be called, what's expected of her, what's expected of you.
Mm.
And yeah, you can get really finite with it. And then I would say, like, every few months you can, especially in the beginning, every few months revisit the contract. Does anything need to change? The other thing is a lot of the main thing a lot of people confuse, and when they look at a dom and sub dynamic or relationship, they think the dom has all the power. It's not
Mm.
true. The sub has the power, because at any moment the sub can stop all of this. Whereas there are a lot of people that get into BDSM, they don't understand it, and they're like, "No, I have this contract over you. It's binding. You have to do everything I say, and it says here that there are no safe words, and I can do whatever I want to you, and you have to obey." And it's like, it's no. If you're doing that, that is abuse. You need that consent from her, from him, whatever the sub is, and at any moment they can pull that, and you have to be okay with that. So
Mm.
if you can understand that, then contracts are totally fine. And again, it can just be a good way of getting on paper, getting clear what is actually going to happen. And it can be good, especially in the beginning, because there's no, oh, I thought you meant this, or oh no, I thought it was this. Like there's no gaslighting that can happen either, because it's
Yeah.
all written on paper.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Especially with the Me Too movement and this woke culture that we have, like especially in
mhm.
the Western part of the world, it can be wise to protect yourself against that too, because the girl can
Oh yeah, there are some.
turn on you. Yeah.
Yeah, there are some kinds of some certain scenarios and kinds of play that I will not engage in without some kind of written consent or a video, or something where I've got the safety that if for whatever reason someone was to turn or something went wrong, I've got that there.
Hmm. Yeah. And how do you think this whole market of like the sexual market is going to evolve with, robots coming in, AI? We have sex dolls and virtual girlfriends and stuff like that. How do you think it's going to evolve, and how do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Like, do you still want to be in this field? Do you want to still evolve in this field? Like, yeah, I just want to have your view on the future. Let's say in the next 10 years, what do you see?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been learning about sexuality and diving deep for about 8 years
Mm.
now. So I'm don't plan on stopping at this point. Like the deeper I go, the deeper it gets. The more I understand, the less I know, kind of thing. Like
Mm.
it's amazing. Like I'm actually going to be starting to learn like erotic hypnosis soon as well. So you can like imprint commands and snap my fingers, you're going to have an orgasm. Like that kind of stuff is going
Oh.
to be like, but like tell me that 5 years ago and I would have thought it was impossible. But now it's like it's so in reality impossible, because I've seen demonstrations of it and I've seen it happen. So it's like,
Hmm.
there's always going to be something, I think. Now, in terms of AI, robots, and all that, I think what we're seeing in terms of like, I think some girl just released an OnlyFans AI bot, and that
Yeah.
got like a lot of subscribers. So it's what it comes down to is, I think a lot of guys, if they want to do that, they're going to do that, but they're not going. It's like girls with sex toys; they're not going to get the human connection, and it just comes down to, are they okay with that? Are they settling for that because they don't think they can meet a real girl, or is that what they actually want? I think in Thailand they actually have a doll only brothel, and that got set up a few years ago.
Mm. Yeah.
So obviously it has to be successful if they're still open, kind of thing. So I think, yeah, it's definitely going to be a big market, but I still think for the sake of the world, I think guys are still going to want that human connection, and they're still going to want an actual woman. Same with dating coaching. I think is the same thing, where if they were only going to go for a doll, it would eliminate dating coaching as well. There's always
Yeah,
going to
for
be those
sure.
people that really really want that. I think in terms of like, as we've been seeing, like compared to say like the 60s, 70s, erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation have actually gotten worse, or performance anxiety has gotten worse over the years. So I think there's actually going to be more use for sex coaches and stuff in the future because of that.
Yeah.
And especially if you don't want to rely on pills, because even then, certain pills are actually going to kill your ability to get an erection later on in life. So, if you want a natural erection without having to get an implant or having to inject your penis, you're going to need this kind of help.
Hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's very interesting what you said about, yeah, the levels of testosterone are decreasing. I think 1% per year nowadays. It's crazy. And
Hmm.
so do you recommend people to take pills in your programs, like specific supplements, for example, ashwagandha or zinc, magnesium? I don't know. Do you recommend like supplements
Yep.
usually to guys?
Yeah, so I have this massive document all about all the different supplements. So zinc's a great one, ashwagandha is great, but it also comes down to what do they actually need. So this is where we do a lot
Hmm.
of testing with the supplements because like ashwagandha might not be what they need. Maybe they need this other one. So I do a lot of testing
Mm.
with that to figure out what is actually going on with their hormones, biochemicals, all that. And then I work on what are the necessary supplements compared to what's just being thrown in there for the sake of throwing it in.
Okay, yeah. But there's not some supplements that you tell all guys to take, no matter
Zinc's
the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely zinc, like because it does help in terms of like recharging a bit quicker. Asparagus pills can be great if you want to shoot a bigger cum load. Um, yeah, it comes down to like if you want to get like more testosterone, there's a one called Afro D that I've seen has had some pretty cool results. But yeah, they're kind of like sort of the main ones, I guess. But
Mhm.
also it really does come down to the guy and what's going on for him because anything in surplus is going to be detrimental at some point.
Mhm. And do you think after a certain age, after let's say 35, 40, guys should do like a TRT treatment? Like I've seen a lot of guys do like injections, testosterone stuff.
No, like you definitely don't need it. Like I was working alongside specifically erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation company for about 6 months, and they were getting guys natural erections in their 70s. Guys that had been on
Wow.
TRT for years, and their balls had essentially shriveled up, became jelly, and were about to completely dissolve, kind of thing. So being on TRT, it does actually fuck up a lot. And yeah, if you want to get rid of your balls, that's a great way of doing it. But yeah, you definitely don't need to. It's the fact that it's the easy way out. It's like, oh, I'm just going to do this. It's the same as Viagra, Cialis, and all that. But it's like if you actually
Mhm.
want to learn and get into it, you can do it naturally. There are guys that are in their 70s having natural erections and still fucking.
Yeah.
So there really is no need to. It's just, are you going to either commit to the work that it takes to work out what you need? Are you going to invest in yourself in that way, or do you want to take the TRT? And sometimes that's you want the quick way, cool. Sometimes that's going to be more expensive as well because it's like if the TRT runs out, or if it fucks up your body in certain ways, it can be excess medical expenses. So there's a lot that can go into it, but I personally wouldn't recommend. Like
Hmm.
you definitely don't have to jump onto it if
Yeah.
you want to, cool, but you don't have to.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. No, thank you, James, for all the things you shared. I mean, it was an amazing podcast. Do you have any last words? Maybe some words to make the world a better place, or some last advice, something you want to finish with?
Yeah, I think if you're out there and you're suffering with like any of the issues that we've talked about on this podcast, performance anxiety, if you're not too great with sex and all that kind of stuff, like just so you know, you aren't alone. Like I think that's a big thing. It's a lot of guys, even with dating, they feel like there's no one to talk to, there's nowhere they can go. But there are a lot of men suffering the same things that um, you're going through. So I think that's sort of the main thing. So and yeah, it doesn't make you less of a man for reaching out and getting help with dating, with sex, with anything really. It
Yeah.
shows strength and understanding that there is something wrong, and it shows that you do want to make a change rather than just suffering in silence or doing something worse. So there is always a
Absolutely.
way. So yeah, just yeah, focus on that and honestly, invest in yourself if it's going to impact your life and make things like life better for you.
Yeah, great words. And so, where can people find you online? Like, if someone wants to improve his sex life and finally get over his problems in the bedroom, like how can they find you?
Yep. So you can find me on Instagram under I'm James King, or you can find me on my website, jameskingcoaching.com. They'll be the two best places to find me.
Okay, so I'll drop the link, guys, in the description. So jameskingcoaching.com, and then at I am
Yep.
James King.
Yeah. At I'm James King. I am.
Um, okay,
So
okay,
so the letter
perfect.
the letter the letter I and the letter M.
Okay, I'll drop these links, guys. Go check him out. Very interesting stuff. And I highly recommend working with James if you are struggling in the bedroom and you want to improve your sex life, your relationship, all of that. And yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. Thanks for being here, James. Thanks for sharing all that wisdom and everything. And I hope you guys got some value out of it. So yeah, thank you, James, again.
Thank you for having me on. And yeah, guys, if you listened all the way through, thank you for taking the time to listen to this as well.
Yeah.